Hello, boys and girls. Mr. Robert here from the Rowan Public Library. I'm real excited because we're doing fairy tales today. And I hope you enjoy this story time. We're going to have a couple books and a flannel board. I've got some of my friends here from Fairy Tales. We have the troll from the Three-Billiger Scruff. We have the little baby bear from Goldilocks and the Three Bears. And we also have one of my favorites, the little rat from the Pied Piper of Hamlet. So sit back and relax and enjoy some fairy tales. Everybody loves the fairy tale Sleeping Beauty. This book is called Waking Beauty. There's the princess sleeping. Once upon a Saturday, in search of dragons she could slay, Prince Charming heard a dreadful sound that shook the land for miles around. It thundered from a castle tall. He raced to scale its prickly walls. "A dragon lies within," he cried, and hand on sword he crept inside. Then he hung his head. "Oh, rats! It's just a snoring girl in bed." He peeked behind her canopy and he spied some fairies, 1, 2, 3. "She snored this way for over 100 years," they whimpered through their fairy tears. "That long? She sure sleeps late. Wake her up! Why do you wait?" The fairy scowls. "Oh, don't be so dense. She'll only wake up for a prince. You see, you finally made the trip. Now, give the girl a little lip." "Okay," he said, "if you insist." He drew his mouth up in a twist and hollered, "Wake up, lazy bones!" Her snores drowned out the fairies' groans. They shook their heads. "No, no, not like this. You have to wake her up with a..." "Hey, I know!" He tapped his head, and he started jumping up and down on the bed. Beauty shot up, hoops and all, then sailed down like a parasol. This did not wake the maiden fair, but it loosed the cobwebs in her hair. The fairies all began to hiss, "She'll only wake up to true loves." "Wait!" Prince Charming waved his hand. "Don't worry, girls, I understand." And stooping over her snoring snout, he dumped a water pitcher out. On she slept, she did not stir. Thick dust had turned to mud on her. The feisty fairies grabbed his ear, making certain that he could hear. "Take careful aim, you must not miss. You have to wake her up with a..." "Oh, I know what you were planning." Prince Charming spied a castle cannon. So he stuffed the Sleeping Beauty in. She soon came shooting out again. Kaboom! She fell into the moat, where all her hoops kept her afloat. Still on she snored as frightened trout, and crocodiles jumped right out. Prince Charming fished the girl ashore. The fairies yelled, "Enough! No more!" They fluttered round him, feeling frantic. "How can you be so unromantic? She won't have ever after bliss until you wake her up with a kiss." The prince's knees began to shake. His noble heart began to quake. 100 years of morning breath? Wow, that could be the kiss of death. He poked her muddy, matted curls. "I've heard that there are germs on girls." He wiped her mouth clean with his shirt. "I hope," he squeaked, "this doesn't hurt." His puckered lips met Beauty's smack, and in her sleep she kissed him back. Prince Charming smiled. "Oh, not bad," he said, and the maiden sat up in the bed. She stretched and yawned and rubbed her eyes. Then, much to everyone's surprise, she popped Prince Charming with her fist. "Who said that you could have a kiss?" The pummeled prince slid down, poor chap, and he fell asleep on the beauty's lap. Beauty groaned and bent to shake him. "Fairies, tell me, how am I going to wake him?" "Oh, just let the poor boy sleep," they said, and tired too, they went off to bed. But fairy tales can't end like this. We know that she woke him up with a kiss. Our flannel board story today is called The Enormous Turnip. Once upon a time, there was a farmer who planted his field with crops. He planted all kinds of things like corn and beans and pumpkins and watermelons, but he also planted turnips. And every day the sun would shine and some days it would rain. And after a while, some of the crops were being ready to be picked. Well, it was time to pick the turnip. So the farmer went and grabbed hold of the turnip. And he pulled, and he pulled, and he pulled. But the turnip wouldn't come out of the ground. So he called his wife. "Hello, wife, can you help me come pull up this turnip?" So the wife came along, and she grabbed hold of the farmer. And the farmer grabbed hold of the turnip, and they pulled, and they pulled, and they pulled. But the turnip wouldn't come out of the ground. So the farmer's wife called their daughter, and she came along, and she grabbed hold of her mother, and the mother grabbed hold of the farmer, and they pulled, and they pulled, and they pulled, and they pulled. But the turnip wouldn't come out of the ground. So the daughter called her pet, the dog, and the dog said, "Ruff, ruff, 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 ruff." And the dog grabbed hold of the daughter, and the daughter grabbed hold of her mother, and the mother grabbed hold of her husband, the farmer, and the farmer grabbed hold of the turnip, and together they all pulled, and they pulled. Come on, do it with me. And they pulled. But the turnip wouldn't come out of the ground. So the dog called his friend the cat. And the cat grabbed hold of the dog, and the dog grabbed hold of the daughter, and the daughter grabbed hold of her mother, and the mother grabbed hold of her husband, the farmer, and the farmer grabbed hold of the turnip, and together they all pulled, and they pulled, and they pulled, and they pulled. But the turnip wouldn't come out of the ground. So along came a little tiny mouse. And the mouse said, "Hey, looks like y'all could use some help. You want me to pull that turnip out of the ground?" And they all looked at the mouse like he was crazy. And they said, "You're too small. You couldn't help us get this turnip out of the ground." And he said, "I bet I can. Watch me." So the little mouse grabbed hold of the cat, and the cat grabbed hold of the dog. The dog grabbed hold of the girl. The girl grabbed hold of her mother. The mother grabbed hold of her husband, the farmer, and the farmer grabbed hold of the turnip. And together they all pulled, and they pulled, and they pulled. And the mouse said, "Come on, one more time, pull." And they all pulled, and out popped the turnip. And the little mouse said, "See, I told you I could pull it out of the ground." And that's the story of the enormous turnip. And guess what? They all lived happily ever after. Everybody loves the Three Billy Goats gruff, where the three goats try to go over the bridge and the old troll tries to keep them from getting there. I think you're going to enjoy this version called The Three Silly Girls Grub. There's a little boy hanging upside down from a bridge. And here are the three girls. There's a little one counting her toes. There's another one writing on the chalkboard. And here's the oldest one. She's looking underneath a microscope. Once there were three silly girls, sisters named Grub. They came in three sizes. There was small, medium, and extra large. One morning, the three silly sisters missed the bus, so they had to cross a bridge to get to school. Now, in a hole underneath the bridge hid Ugly Boy Bobby. Ugly Boy Bobby never went to school. He was the kind of boy who ate bugs, yuck, tossed stones at cats, and drank from puddles. The muddier, the better. So the smallest of the grubs skipped over the bridge on her way to school. Skippity skip, skip. Who's that skipping on my bridge? Grunted a voice from the hole. Well, it's just little me, squeaked the smallest of the three. I'm on my way to school to count to 10 on my toes. Not before I eat your lunch, grumbled Ugly Boy Bobby. Oh, please do not, said the smallest girl. I only have one jelly donut. You should wait for my sister, the medium-sized grub. She brings 6 jelly donuts for her lunch. Okay, go, or I'll put toes in your sneakers, grunted Ugly Boy Bobby. So the first sister ran to school as fast as her little legs would go. Soon, the second sister skipped over the bridge on her way to school. Skippity skip, skip. Who's that skipping on my bridge? Grunted the voice from the hole. Well, it's middle-sized me, said the second of the three. I'm on my way to school to spell Bumblebee's bun. Not before I eat your lunch, growled Ugly Boy Bobby, gnashing his teeth. Oh, please do not, said the second girl. I only have 6 jelly donuts. You should wait for my sister, the biggest grub. She brings a dozen jelly donuts for her lunch. Okay, go, or I'll tangle up bats in your hair, grunted Ugly Boy Bobby. So the second sister ran to school as fast as her medium-sized legs would go. Now the biggest of the grubs skipped over the bridge. Skippity skip, skip. Who's that skipping off my bridge? Grunted the voice. Well, it's just big-sized me, said the biggest of the three. I'm on my way to school to see itsy-bitsy, teeny-tiny things underneath the microscope. Not before I eat your dozen jelly donuts, roared Ugly Boy Bobby, smacking his ugly boy lips. He hauled himself up onto the bridge. He stomped his ugly boy feet. He shook his ugly boy fist. And the extra large girl only grinned. You may have my jelly donut, she said, but first I'm gonna plant a dozen mushy kisses on your little boy nose. And the biggest girl puckered up her extra large lips. And Ugly Boy Bobby leaped from the bridge. He ran off to school as fast as his ugly boy legs would go. And he never missed school again. Nowadays, Ugly Boy Bobby is called just Robert. He can count to 10 on his fingers. He can spell Bumblebee's bun, and he can see small things underneath a microscope if he wears his glasses. Spink, spank, spinach. This story is finished. Thank you for joining my friends in our story time today on Fairytales. Remember, you can stop by any of our 3 branches at the Rowan Public Library and pick up all the fairy tale books you want. And you can watch more videos just like this on our Facebook page and also our YouTube channel. Thank you and have a great day.